Hey, yo, whoa. We are back. Back with another and Ski's opinion with your gracious and humble host, Ski. Yes, people, I am back. I'm back a little bit quicker this week. Look, we're gonna jump right into it. The news has been in a frenzy, right? You got a lot of stuff going on. I'm not going to go too much into a lot of different scenarios. Like I said, let me touch on one or two things. Um, Going forward now, you guys, to stay a little bit more focused on what I'm trying to do. But let's get to the show. So, what I want to speak to you guys about today is my man, our man, Lil Durk, right? So, news has been exploding everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. Durk hires Brian Steele, to be a part of his legal defense team. Um, you hear a lot of mixed messages with this announcement, right? I guess they swapped off Brian Steele for one of the other attorneys. I think the attorney that they did take off the case um, was from Chicago. So they took him off the case because they felt Brian Steele would be a better fit for what's going into trial. And I would probably have to agree as far as his track record. Like watching Brian Steele cross examine during the Diddy trial and the cross examination that was going on in the YSL trial, right? Was that well, yeah, so watching him do that, you could tell he's a very good litigator. He's a good person to have cross-examine some of these guys who's going to jump on the stand. So you got mixed signals. You got people that's feeling like Durk is cooked. You got those who feeling like, oh, he got Brian Steele. Durk's in the bag. He ain't cooked. Like none of that is of substance, right? Dealing with this case, dealing with this trial, the man is fighting for his life. So I'm not going to go into if he's cooked or if he's not cooked, right? What I'm going to say is he's giving himself the best defense possible to overcome this situation, right? And we don't know where it's going to go one way or another. So I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of people saying, yeah, he's done because of this or because of that. I'm not an attorney. Most of you guys are not attorneys. I did do some pre-law classes, and I deal with the law in my everyday, right? I'll just go that far as as what I do personally, right? So I got somewhat of an understanding, but I don't proclaim to know more than a lawyer, right? That's a person who does this all the time. That's what they do. They go over documents and they read through it and they understand it backwards and forwards before they even present it, to the jury. So I'm not gonna go against what they're saying, right? And I'm not gonna take what something looks like and say this is what it is. So I'm not gonna say Durk is cooked, right? But I'm not gonna say he's not, because we don't know. From what's been displayed as of late, right? With we just gonna say it. People keep saying, this OTF Bonnie being absent at the last few, court appearances. The situation with the lyrics being let um, into the trial to be used against them, right? Um, so that's what I was saying. Like it's just certain things that I feel like it's 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 geared towards people. I can understand why some people are saying like, oh, he's done, right? like I said, even though you're not an attorney, you don't understand the law. You don't know how you could argue it, right? My point with that is this, right? I'm gonna say the lyric thing, it could be damaging, right? But what I do know is that it also gives the attorneys, and you have some very skilled attorneys, that he does have on his team, right? It gives them something to spin, right? This can help and hurt the prosecution, if you ask me, right? It can help because it helps set up their motive, right? What his motive was, what his motive is. Saying it's retaliation for King Von. And that could be true, but that could not be true, right? As well, because you're saying that Durk paid to have Quando Rondo killed, right? If that's true, right? Let's just say if that's true, you guys. If that's true, then the case is not a case because Quando Rondo didn't get killed. And I know everybody gonna say, yeah, but they killed his cousin trying to kill him. I get that. But if the objective for me paying or for me to help you further your career, to put you in a better position, whatever the feds are trying to say that Durk offered these guys in exchange for them to murder Quando Rondo, right? Because he did not y'all are not saying that he paid them to kill Lil Pop. They just paid to kill Quando. So even them, if that's true, and they going to kill Quando, but they end up killing Pop, how can y'all prove that he paid them? Because they didn't do what he asked. And that's what y'all saying. Y'all saying that he offered this for them to kill this person. That person never died. The attempt was made, but to my understanding, right? Even in movies, and we can make that's a movie, so it's not reality. But to my understanding, you don't get paid until the job is done. I mean, this is even on the street level, right? Even there, if somebody put something out on somebody, right, and it doesn't happen, then you don't get paid until the job is done, right? People don't even accept payment until the job is done. Most of the time, it's probably some type of a payment system. Like, here's this, and when you're done, you get this. So if when you're done, I'm gonna put y'all in a position to get record deals, or I'm gonna give you $1 million if that was it. That because they switched that so many times. This is the reason why I say I can't always say he's cooked, right? The feds has changed their story 3 times about what the murder for hire was about, or for, or what was offered, or what was they switched it 3 different times. First, it was money, it was monetary. It was $1 million, you guys. Remember that. Next, it was record deals and this and that, right? They couldn't really prove that because nobody signed, right? So then you got to switch it again and say, well, I don't know if it was record deals, but he promised to put them in videos, right? So if they killed someone or want to kill someone, right, to be getting put in a video, then why are these guys in videos before that? So did they kill somebody else to get in that video? And they killing people to get in videos? Like, they shoot videos every day, you guys. I'm sorry. You can walk down the street and bump into a video in most urban areas, right? In every state, in every city. You could probably bump into a video that you're not even trying to be in one. You end up in the video, right? So as far as, is it a video, of that caliber? If people want to say, I could go, okay, we're gonna touch it today. But what is that giving them? Right? What is that giving? He's running around with $200,000, $300,000 chains around his neck. He driving track Hawks and Bentleys, and they flying on private jets and this and that, right? The man is selling millions of records. They seeing the revenue. Who's dumb enough to just take? You can put me in the video. And a lot of these guys are that's even a part of it. Is some type of affiliation to this man. And then I was listening to Truth Teller, talking about. I was listening to him talking about it, right? And he like, yeah, something about the guys. What the hell did he say? He's lied so much, it's hard to even remember what he said. Truth Teller said, what did he say? That the guys was it cahoots or whatever, or maybe the shooters. The shooters was from Chicago, so they still got Chicago lawyers. Something he was just speaking. I saw a video, right? Well, this is what I want to get. And they saying that the shooters, they saying two of these guys who's supposed to be, I guess, some of the shooters or whatever on this case, they not even a part of like OTF or Dog Pound or Lamron or none of that, right? These guys, I think, even vice lords from somewhere else, right? They don't know Durk. And who Durk let himself get close enough to some guys that he's supposedly paying or offering something to have them do something as heinous as murder? You know what I'm saying? Like to have communication with them. They got a text message saying Durk said, "Don't pay for nothing with anything that's affiliated to my name," right? That could have been for anything. That didn't have to be nothing about no murder. But then to turn around and right after this man say that, for that brother who y'all saying is supposed to be the snitch now, to go buy everything with the credit card, pay for their plane tickets, buy ski masks. Like he was what, or was he already setting this up to look like that? But then, do you have Durk telling him to do this? That's my point. They said, well, you could say, well, they was in close proximity. He came on the plane with him. That doesn't mean anything, man. The dude worked for him. But that doesn't mean that Durk paid him to kill Quando Rondo or pay some guys to kill Quando Rondo, right? For retaliation for Von. Von's his cousin. So if I'm the lawyer, I'm building motive towards why he would do it. And then this is how I could do what I'm trying to do. And if I do get caught, I could just blame it on him. Right? He got the money. He the boss man. They don't know that I'm the one who the mastermind behind this. They saying the same person stole money from Von, or a hard drive from the house, had the sister do that, and stole some money or something like that from Von, to clear out the bank accounts or something, right? So this is snake behavior, right? He has snake behavior. He has a behavior that would warn someone not being truthful, right? His behavior shows that he can't be trusted as far as what he say, what he do, and all of that, right? So that's my point when I say you can't say he's cooked, because it's on the feds to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this man did this, right? The burden of proof is on them. It's not on the state. All they have to show is that that's bullshit. And let me show you why it's bullshit, right? And you can come up with a million ways, like I said, to spin that to make it look like something else. When the case comes to court and goes to trial, right, people are gonna start seeing it, right? And just like the one guy, saw another clip with another guy talking about is that they like the most damaging music part, lyrics or whatever that they could have used was the thing with Quando Rondo. They saying that fans digitally edited this and put Quando voice on there with Durk talking, and then they proved that this recording was recorded 3 months before the song was released, right? Which was 3 months before Pod's boy was killed. So it shows that it was altered, right? And they threw that in there on some lyrics of a song that he made months before the murder even happened, right? So that right there in itself, and that's why they can't use it. But that right there in itself, if I'm the lawyer, I'm bringing that up. Like y'all, now you want to use these blanket references to things that he said in songs, but the one thing that does make it seem like he actually did this has been proven that it was falsified and doctored and altered or whatever to where that couldn't have never been true, right? So it kind of even vindicates him. So I understood them moving for a motion to dismiss at that point, right? Because y'all said, but then they said no, we gonna pivot. They switched it. No, he didn't. Uh, he didn't pay them for this, or no, we're not gonna use that part. But then okay, so if you saying that he this is your reason for saying how you know he paid them, but then now you saying okay that don't matter. So that's what I'm saying. All these things that they were saying to tie Durk in, they had to change it 3 times. You got. I just want to be realistic, right, and on the side of logic, and not just voicing an opinion on what somebody think gonna happen or think can happen. Whatever happens is gonna happen, right? That we all do know. Regardless of whatever happen, however, whichever way it goes, it's gonna go a way, right? Or maybe not. They might be hung, and he's fighting this for another 2-3 years, But the point I'm trying to make is logically, it doesn't seem like the strongest case you got for people to be out here saying he's cooked, right? He's cooked. Like, how? I haven't watched a lot of federal cases go to court and this and that, right? But I have watched some, right? Documentaries, this and that, right? And them go over and talk about how the case went, with the OJ trial, with mobster cases, John Gotti trial, So I've said, but I've never saw the feds this unprepared, right? When it comes to convicting somebody, right? They have a lot of stuff, and the FBI, they've been recording and watching and doing all type of stuff, so they study people, but I've never seen them have to switch what the reason for them charging this person with this crime 3 different times, which shows me that they are very ill prepared, right? And I would not be surprised if he beat the case. I wouldn't be surprised if he lost it as well, because it's the government. You got, and that's just an entity that's too big to lose sometime, right? So I heard somebody else say like, yeah, they like, well, yeah, Durk's spending all the money, but now he guaranteeing he gonna get freedom, right? And people like, well, they don't guarantee that, they didn't win. He didn't win Lucci's case. Fadiman, Brian Finland didn't beat, Lucci's case. They took a plea bargain, but he worked it to the plea bargain. They wanted to give Lucci 200 years, right? So you can't negate what this man did to get this to the point to where they had to come up with a plea, because if they would have took it to trial, he was gonna beat them. That's the only time they come to you with something, right? Because they not all the way 100% sure about if we gonna win this, right? We can't take the chance of losing. So let's get him to take a plea, and that's what they did with Luch. And I'm gonna say that's the same thing that they did with Doug, because they said that well Steele didn't do it either, because with Doug he take a plea bargain for Doug, but they was finna beat it. That's why they gave him the plea. And Thug got tired of sitting there. They had the man sitting in there for almost 3 years. So he was tired of being there. So he took the dumb excuse my language, but he took the dumb plea, right? Just to get out of there. Now you can't be in Atlanta, or that's the day you can't even sing about, you can't even make the music that you want to make, right? Because you couldn't wait 2 months for them to toss everything out. They tossed it out on that guy and other dude, and they said, you saying here, whatever that is. I'm not going to go into Young Thug thing, but my thing is this. He was beating them, right? And they said, oh, that's the state. That's not the Fed. Ski, you're right. But he went up against the feds. And they're like, well, Diddy didn't beat the case. They threw out the other two. He beat them. He beat the man that. The trafficking and all that. Diddy was guilty of the man that. So the cases that they found, they actually got it right. The other hand, he beat that. You can't say he didn't beat it. So that's what they're saying, like, well, yeah, you got to look at, okay, the stalking charge, right? Could we have him plead? So that's what they're saying. So the other guy was saying that this is a way that they can save themselves, right? Where it don't look like they just lost with the murder for hire, because they might, but what's the backup charges, right? And the backup charges is the stalking thing, right? But how could you link Durk to stalking? You got, that's my point. How do you link him to stalking when he was nowhere around? But then you're saying that because y'all said, well, he sent them there to do it. But you can't say that he sent them there to do it if you can't prove the murder for hire. That's just my piece on it. And we will see where the chips may fall, right? August the trial start, unless for some reason they push it back, or for one reason or another they push it back or something, right? For something else. But August we'll see. August, maybe September, depending on when the trial start, we should find out what's gonna happen. We should find out the fate, right? But what I'm gonna say is, I just want people to stop. I want people to stop counting people out, right? And throwing people under the bus with things that they really don't even know about, right? You got, like, none of y'all can predict what's gonna happen, right? Like I said, with the Thug situation, Thug is gone. They finna hang him. You could even say it with Diddy, right? With the Diddy case, that was federal. I don't care what nobody's saying. That's the Fed. He just came inviting them, and now you got him litigating for you, right? That's a better look. It's not a guarantee, but it's a good look to have somebody like that on your team, right? So you got some people believing now, because you got him and you got Finland. He good, Durk he gonna do this. That doesn't mean that either, you guys. He's just putting together, like I said, the best defense for himself, right? And to make sure that he get the best representation that he can up in there, because he's fighting for his life. That's the bottom line. I want everybody to understand he's a father. He's a son. If him and that girl is married, I think they are. He's a husband. He's a brother. He's an uncle. He's a nephew. He's a lot of things, man. So he's somebody in the community that young kids looked up to from one point or another, maybe good or bad, right? He's a lot of things, but he's not just the rapper Durk, and his life is expendable, right? And I could say he's cooked because of what I see, as far as this and, this and that, right? But that's shameful, for us to put that type of rhetoric in the air about someone, right? Because when you speak that, you can speak that, and you're speaking that into the atmosphere. You're putting that energy out there into the world. But you got people just right about, but it's fight back and forth. But I just say, don't do that. I'm not gonna do that. That's just my piece on it. This is my opinion and breakdown about what I think about the Durk case as it stands now, right? Like I said, when we get to August and the trial start and they're going through everything, everything will open up a lot more. You could even get a better view of which way it's leading, why it's happening, right? At this point, I'm just telling you, this is what I see for right now. This has been another episode of Ski's Opinion. To your gracious and humble host, who that is, Ski. Hey, yo, whoa, and I'm out. Peace.